press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update.
Hi everyone, my name is Prerna. I work with Untitled, and today we are going to talk about the process to apply for MS in the US. So let's go quickly and talk to our senior.
Hi.
So can you tell our student how to start the application process?
Sure. So today I'm going to talk to you about how to go about shortlisting universities for your masters in the US. Right? So there are a couple of things that you should always keep in mind. One, that every student is different, right? So you have to consider a shortlist that is suitable for your own profile and your own interests, and not be influenced by what your friends are doing or the universities that your seniors have applied to or any of your relatives have applied to, right? So it's something that is very personal to you, and you need to consider your profile and your interest when shortlisting university. The second most important point is that if you get your university shortlist right, the rest of the process will fall in place automatically. Right? So the university shortlist is the most critical aspect of your entire study abroad preparation process. What I'm going to do today is talk to you about the framework that we at Untitled use to help students shortlist universities for their masters in the US. Now this framework can actually be used for pretty much every country with a little bit of modifications, but our discussion today will be more in the context of a MS in the US. We use a 5-point framework, so essentially 5 major parameters that we consider while helping students shortlist the university. So I'll go through each of those parameters one by one, and that will help you in your shortlisting process. The first parameter that we look at is the profile of the university. Right? So things like the ranking of the university, things like the research reputation of the university, the specific areas in which the university has a research reputation, the kind of research budgets that the university has, etc. Right? And especially for tech programs like computer science, engineering, etc. It's very important to look at the research reputation of the university. Then you also need to look at the course specific parameters like the curriculum, the structure of the program, and whether it suits with what your interests are. Right? So that overall sort of parameter we define as the university profile. The second parameter that you should look at is your own profile, as in the student's profile, and the fit of that profile in terms of what the university is looking at. Right? So your profile is a combination of multiple things, right? So it includes various quantitative measures like, let's say, your GRE score or your TOEFL or IELTS score, your CGPA or GPA, but it also includes other parameters like your work experience if you have any kind of projects that you've done in the past, or any kind of publications or research papers that you have. Right? So your profile is a combination of all these factors. Now what is important is every university has a different approach in terms of how they evaluate profile. Right? There are some universities which will place more reliance on your GRE score, whereas there are some other universities which place more reliance on your GPA. Similarly, there are certain universities which will place a lot more reliance on your work experience compared to some other university. Right? So it's important to evaluate your profile and then look at universities for which your profile is the most suitable given how they look at evaluating profile. Right? So that's our second parameter in terms of student profile. The third parameter that we look at is jobs and careers. Right? Because ultimately when you're going to the US for your education, your intention or your objective is to work there at least for a few years and get some international exposure while you are in the US. Now, what you need to understand is that the US is a very large country, right, geographically, and different parts of the US have different economic drivers, right? So, for example, if you were to look at technology, California has always been a state where there have been a lot of technology businesses, and so technology jobs have been available. If you look at manufacturing, some of the Midwest states, etc., traditionally have had a lot of manufacturing industry. But what has happened over the last 5 to 7 years is this entire spread of industries has also undergone a significant change, right? So when it comes to technology, now California is not the only option. You've got places like Seattle, you've got places like Chicago, you've got places like Florida, where there is a significant increase in the number of technology companies that have been set up, and consequently the amount of technology jobs that are available. Right? So we look at all of these factors. We also consider things or data in terms of the H1B visa approvals. Right? So we look at in specific cities or in specific markets, what are the number of H1B visas that have been approved over the last 3 years or last 5 years, because that again gives you an indication in terms of what your chances of securing an H1B visa in those specific cities would be. Right? So these are some of the factors that we look at. What we also look at is from a student demographics perspective. And why this is important is because there are certain universities in the US which have a very high percentage of Indian students as part of the student population. Right? So you will find universities in certain cases having almost 60, 70, 80% of the students from an Indian background. Now what happens in these universities is that it's very hard for you to differentiate yourself from the peer group, because everyone tends to have a background which is very similar to each other, right? So that makes it harder from the jobs perspective. We strongly believe, and this is supported by data, that you are much better off going to universities where the percentage of Indian students is moderate, right? So you're much better off going to universities where, let's say, 20% or 30% of the students come from India, and so that maximizes your potential to find the right career options after you graduate. Right? So that's the third factor in terms of jobs and career opportunities. Fourth parameter that we look at is visas. Now, as you're aware, to study in the US, you need to apply for and secure the F1 visa. The visa process is heavily interview dependent, right? And data has shown that there are certain universities where the chances of success in terms of being able to get a visa approved are much higher, right? So it's important to evaluate the visa success rates for the universities and choose the universities to apply for accordingly. This is honestly not that big a factor when you have a, let's say, a GRE of 305 or 310 plus, right? Because most of the universities that you would be applying for with that kind of a GRE score would anyways have a fairly high visa success rate. But this becomes extremely important when you have a GRE score of maybe around 300 or slightly less than 300, and in that case it's very important to assess the visa success rates for the universities that you are applying to and choose your universities smartly. One of the things that we typically recommend when your GRE score is a little lower is that you either have to make a compromise on the university or you might have to make a compromise on the program. So our strong belief is that you're always better off going to a better university but maybe making a slight compromise on your program. So to give you an example, you are much better off going for a master's in MIS or a master's in business analytics in a better university than trying to get into a master's in computer science in a university which is slightly lower rank, which makes it harder to get a visa. Okay? So think about it from that perspective. The fifth and the last parameter that we look at when it comes to shortlisting universities is a financing bit, right? And the financing bit is further broken into three sub-parameters. First is the cost, right? So it's always important to have a ballpark budget in mind. So when you are evaluating universities, only look at universities which fall in terms of their cost of attendance within your budget. It really doesn't make a lot of sense to go and attend universities which are extremely expensive, because that is only going to increase the amount of loan that you're taking and make your return on investment that much harder to achieve. Right? So always have a budget in mind and look at universities that fall within your budget. The second thing to look at is funding. Right? So typically universities have options in terms of either fellowships or scholarships or in terms of assistantships that they offer. Right? So we look at things like in a particular university, what is the percentage of students who typically get get some sort of funding, and in some universities that percentage can be as high as 50% or 60%. Right? So you're always better off going to universities where more students get access to some kind of funding from the university. The third factor within funding is loans, right? Because majority of the students depend on some kind of student loans to be able to fund their education. Now there are various kinds of education loans available, right? You've got secured loans, unsecured loans, loans from banks or financial institutions in India, banks and financial institutions in the US. A lot of factors are there, but it's important that you have a basic sense of what kind of loan you are going to be eligible for, because that can sometimes play a role in the kind of universities that you would apply for, because there are certain loan options or loan products which are only available for certain universities and programs. So if you are going to be taking that particular loan option, at the time of shortlisting itself, it makes sense to shortlist universities where that loan option is going to be available. And so that's the fifth factor in terms of financing that you should look at in terms while shortlisting universities. So just to quickly recap, the 5 factors that we at Enrisen look at when we are helping our students shortlist universities are: 1. The university profile, 2. The student profile, 3. Jobs and career opportunities, 4. Visa options and visa opportunities, and 5th, finance. Right? So make a holistic evaluation of your profile while shortlisting universities, consider all of these factors, and once you get your university shortlist right, everything else in terms of your visas, in terms of your loans, in terms of the jobs will automatically fall in place. Thank you.
After the universities have been shortlisted, the next crucial step in study abroad journey is to work on application requirement. Since different universities have different criteria for selection, it's imperative to know what exactly your chosen university requires. Let's go through general set of documents one by one for application process. So the first document would be the application form, which needs to be filled in very carefully and properly to avoid rejection. The second document would be your degree certificate and transcripts of your last education. Third document is test scorecards of the test taken. It can be GRE or GMAT, and English communication scorecard like IELTS, TOEFL or PTE. The next document which you need to prepare is a statement of purpose, that is SOP or essays, where you get a chance to reflect your strength in a proper manner. The next document would be resume, where you need to be precise and inclusive of all the academic and other achievement. Last but not the least, letter of recommendation. So LOR are supposed to be collected from the people relevant to your program and who are well acquainted with your achievements and accomplishments. The good score will enhance your chances of getting into top universities in the US, but the crucial documents like SOP and LOR should not be neglected. So we advise our students to give the equal importance to the documents like SOP, LOR and resume. Even if you have great GRE score, you can still face the rejection. Thank you so much. So this was all about the application requirements. Now we'll move on to our third point, that is visa process. So my colleague Meghna will be telling you about that. Hi Meghna. So can you tell our students about the visa process?
Of course. Now once the university is having applied to and the permit has been received, the next major challenge lies in getting the visa done. The visa process mostly entails 2 steps: filling up an online form and appearing for an interview in person. And like any other interview, this interview also needs thorough preparation. Students from across the country fret with the very thought of appearing in front of the visa interviewer. The students feel that in case their application gets rejected, their entire effort is simply going to go waste. Though all of that is true, but there is nothing to fear. The visa authorities are not tasked to reject their applications. Their only objective is to validate your reasons of going to the US. So while you start preparing for the questions, it's important that you thoroughly research about the university you're applying to and its program requirements. It's always important to know the history of the university and its location. It's also important to understand your financial documents in detail to make sure you are well aware of how you're going to fund your education in the US. It's equally important to prove that you have enough ties back in your country to make sure you're coming back and not settling down in the US by any means. These few points will certainly help you handle the visa interview with a positive outcome. Students applying for MS in the US require F1 visa. Students holding the same can not only live and study in the US legally, but do other things like have a driver's license, open a bank account, and travel in and out of US without restrictions. Also, they're allowed to work with certain rules and regulations. So, applying for MS in the US might get a little challenging. Considering all the aspects we've covered today, it is certainly worth the money, effort, and time in order to experience the world's most sought after destination for the master's programs.
Thank you for watching the video, which was mostly focused on these three aspects:
Shortlisting of the universities, the application requirements, and visa process. Hope you enjoyed the video.
If you liked the video, please comment below, share and subscribe.